Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we'll see what are strings. Strings are nothing but they are collection of characters. They are identified as continuous set of characters which we encode them in between quotations. You can use single quotations, double quotations, or triple quotations to represent the string. So when you will use triple quotes, if your sentence contains multiple lines, in that case, we use triple quotes. See this example. We are assigning this is Python which spans in 3 sentences to a variable A. Now if you display A, this results in this /n is /n Python, that is a new line, that is end of line is also displayed in our result. But if we want to ignore the end of lines, we need to use forward slash. Let us see this example. Say I am assigning A is equal to hello. This is Python class. And end with triple quotes. And if I am displaying A, then if you can see that after every word or after every word, we are having the new line. If I don't want to display this line, end of the line, then precede each, that means end each sentence with forward slash. Let us represent that. Now I'll write A is equal to hello, then precede it with forward slash. This forward slash is Python. See, now end of line is removed. If you don't want the end of line to be displayed in the result, then end the sentence with forward slash. Next is, if you want to find the substring of a string, then indexing and slicing is used. Say inside the string, for example, if A is equal to hello, H will have index value 0, E will have the index value 1, L will have 2, and again L will have 3, and O will have 4. So these characters can be accessed using the index value. For example, I want to access hello. Then I need to use A of 0. If I want to access 4, A of 4. Right? Instead of character, I want to display or retrieve the substring of the string, then slicing technique is used. For example, A of the starting value is to be displayed, right, 1, and followed by the colon, and last value, if I want to display the fourth value, up to the fourth value, then n plus 1 value should be given. If the n value is 4, then n plus 1 value should be given here. So it will display last up to the, see if it is the last value is 5, then up to 4 it will display. See, ELLO is displayed. Now I'll say A of 1 to 3. EL 1 and 2. Up to last but 1 value, 3 is the last value that we have specified. Up to last but 1 value, the string will be displayed. And string will have the reverse indexing also. For example, if H is having the index value 0, O will have the index value -1. O will have from the reverse also we have indexing, and that will have the negative values. From left to right, the indexing is positive, and from right to left, it is negative indexing. That is, O will have -1, L will have -2, again L will have -3, E will have -4, H will have the index value of -5. If I say A of -1, see, O has been displayed, right? Next, list and tuples. It's very, very important interview question. Most of the in interviews they'll ask what is the difference between list and tuples. List and tuples are also collections. They are the collection of objects. See, we are very, very familiar with arrays. According to the definition of the arrays, arrays are collection of homogeneous elements, whereas list and tuples are collection of heterogeneous elements. The main difference between this list and arrays are, lists are collection of homogeneous elements. That means it contains the elements of same data type, whereas lists are collections of heterogeneous elements. You can have elements inside the list which are of different data types, and lists are enclosed within the square braces. See this example. We are having a list which consists of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you see the large element here, it is a string, right? So it is the collection of heterogeneous elements. Similar to the string, list is also having the index values. If you see this example, foo, bar, baz, so on, the first element is having indexing 0, the second element is 1, the third element is 2, and so on. And the list also have the reverse indexing. The last element will have the index -1, and the next will be -2, -3, and so on. So if I want to access bar, we can access it using the A of 1 or else A of -5. Similarly, slicing can be used for list. If you do not specify the starting value, and if you specify only the end value, from the starting value to last but one value, the values are displayed. Next, list can be nested. For example, if you can able to say this example, see the first element here is a character and or a character, and if you see the second element again it is a list. The second element indexing is 1. But if I want to access again inside this a particular element, say I want to access 1 in the second element, then it should be accessed as x of 1 comma 0. Sorry, x of 1, 1, 0. Right? Then 1 will be displayed. Lists are mutable. Lists are mutable means list can be changeable. The elements inside the list can be changeable. See, the second element here is again a list, but I am making it as 2, which is an integer type. So I am changing from the list to integer type. So you can change a list. And list is dynamic. That means that you can add something. You can add some elements to the list after creating it also. Once it is created, also you can extend that list using the append function. See, using the append function, I am adding 6. When I add 6 to this x variable, that 6 is added to the last. So 6 is added to the last of the list. So list is dynamic and list is mutable, and list can be nested. Tuples Tuples are identical to list, but the main difference between list and tuples are lists are mutable, whereas tuples are immutable. Lists are enclosed in square braces, whereas tuples are enclosed in ordinary braces. See, you cannot change the tuples, and these tuples are not dynamic. Say, for example, I have initialized a tuple 1, 2, 3 to a variable a. Now, if I am trying to add another element to the a, it is giving an error. So, you cannot change the tuple once it is created. Dictionaries. So, list and tuples will have integer index. If you want your own index, either it may be of integer type or string type, you want to create your own indexing other than integer indexing, or it can be integer indexing, but you can specify your own indexing. Then in that case you use dictionaries. Dictionaries are key value pairs, and it is a mutable data structure. You represent any dictionary. See the example. You are giving a host separate, followed by colon, and followed by one value, that is earth. This host is here key, and earth is the value. This value earth can be accessed using the key, which is host in this case. Dictionaries are enclosed inside the flower braces, and the key and the value is separated by the colon, or it can be any equal to sign or colon, and each element in the dictionary are separated by comma. I'll repeat, the key and value are separated by the colon, and each element in the dictionaries are separated using comma, right? And you can add the, once it is created, a dictionary is created, you can add elements into the dictionary. How can you add elements into the dictionary? Like similar to the list. Like for example, a dictionary of port is equal to 80. Then key here is port and value is 80. And if you want to display all the key values, then we use the function called as keys. Let us execute this one, dictionaries. Say a is equal to, my key is 1 and the value is h1, value 1, v1, and comma separated. 2 is equal separated colon v2, right? I am closing the dictionary. So now display the dictionary. You are getting key value pairs. Now I want to display only the keys. Only the keys have been displayed here. Remember, dictionary items are changeable and does not allow duplicates. Code blocks use indentation. See, in C language, if you want to represent a code, then we encode that set of statements inside the flower braces. But Python does not have flower braces. All the set of statements which belongs to one block will have same indentation. That means all the statements which belongs to the one block starts at same line. This makes the code reading of the code easier. And of course, code blocks can consist of single statements. If statement. So to make any decisions, we use if statement. For example, If we give any condition after the if keyword, and if the condition is true, the statements after the if is executed. Apart from the if, we have if else statement. In if else statement, if any condition is given after the if, and if that condition is true, the statements after the if is executed. Otherwise, the statements after else will be executed. See this example. I am assigning a value 2 to the variable a, 3 to variable b, and if a greater than b, then, and remember, if any statement, either it may be if statement, or if you are using any controls like loop controls like while, for loop, or any function, all the statements should end with colon. Remember that. So after if, I am giving the condition, and the condition should end with colon, right? So once this a greater than b satisfies, that means as if it results to true, then a is greater will be printed, else b is greater will be printed. So let us execute that program and let us see. I am assigning a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, and if a greater than b, it should be end with the colon. See, now you can see that the indentation has changed, and my code begins. My block begins, and inside this block, I have only one statement to be printed. Print a is greater, and as is greater is a string that should be included in braces. Bracket close. Now the else should come below the if, in the same line where the if statement is starting. So now the indentation changes. So else part here, and again it should be end with the colon. Now I am printing b is greater. Right? So let us, before executing any code in IDE, you need to save that code first. So let the file name is if condition .py. I'm saving it, and let us run the program. So we got 3 is greater. Python has else if spelled as elif with the following sentences. And if I want a if condition even after the else, then in that case we give the condition as elif. In other languages we use the term else if, but in Python we use the word elif. If expression 1, then this set of statements will be executed. Else, again the third condition, if expression 2, the statements under elif will be executed. Else, the statements under else will be executed. For example, I want to find the greatest of 3 numbers. Right. So a is equal to 2, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to 3. Now my condition is if a greater than b and a greater than c, we need to print a is greater, elif. If b greater than c, b will be greater. If these two conditions fails, in that case c will be greater. So instead of else if is combined into one word, that is elif. While loop. So if I want to execute its particular sentence repeatedly, in that case, we use while loop. Say, for example, I want to print the integer numbers from 1 to 5. Then in that conditions, instead of printing one, instead of saying print 1, print 2, print 3, instead of saying these many times a particular sentence, the sentence print should be repeated 6 times for various values. So for that purpose, I am initializing a value 1 to the variable I, and then a while loop is used. While the syntax of the while is while followed by the condition and ends with a colon. I less than 6. The condition is while I less than 6, I am printing the I, and I is incremented. So in this case, at the first time I will be 1, then the condition is checked. Yes, 1 is less than 6. So 1 will be printed. What is the use of end is equal to quotation? If I won't use end is equal to quotes, then the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be printed all the new values in the new line. See, let us execute this. Say, let initialize I is equal to 1. Then while I less than 6, I want to print 1 to 5 integers, end with colon, print I. And now the I value should be incremented so that it becomes 2. I is equal to I plus is equal to 1. That's all. Let's save this program and let us run this program. See, you can see the result that 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 each has printed in the new line. But I don't want to print each of the integer in the new line. I want to print it side by side. So for that purpose, we use end is equal to colon. End is equal to not colon, end is equal to single quotes. So let us print here, comma, end is equal to single quotes. Now see the difference. The difference between the previous result and the new result. Right? Next, break statement. So with the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is true. Even if the while condition is true, if you want to break the particular loop, or if you want to come out of that loop, we use break statement. Say for example, the same previous example, the condition is while I less than 6. Remember, we have to initialize I is equal to 1 prior to this statement. And we are printing it. And if I is equal to 3, we are coming out of the loop. Then see, if you see the result, only 1, 2, 3 is printed, but not 4, 5, 6 is printed. Right? So to come out of the loop in the middle, when a particular condition is met, then we use a break statement. Continue statement. If you want to stop only the current iteration, but the remaining iterations should be continued, only the current iteration to be stopped, then we use the continue statement. See here the same example. If I is equal to 3, we are saying continue. Except the 3, all the other values has been printed. In the previous case, see, at 3, when the condition is 3, there we are coming out of the loop. But here, when when only the condition is 3, that iteration is stopped and the remaining iterations will be continued and the remaining values has been displayed. For loop. For loop is used for iteration over sequence. That is, you can iterate through list, tuples, dictionaries, or any set. And the main other difference between while loop and for loop is that increment, condition, and the stopping value, everything will be included under one statement, under one condition. See, inside the program, when you are using while loop, inside the loop, we are incrementing the I value. But when you are using the condition, see the increment value, initial value, and the step value. Initial value, increment value, and step value all are under one statement only, or are under will be included while defining your for loop. So we as said that for loop iterates over the sequence. See the example. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a list. And now I want to print the list. So we are iterating inside the list using the variable I. So for I in A, we are printing I value. So say 1, 2, 3, 4 has been printed. Another example. So we are printing, we are assigning list of fruits to a variable called as fruits. And we are from the keyboard using input function, we are trying to find a particular fruit inside a list called as fruits. So we are assigning that fruit value to a variable called as fr. Then using for loop and we are using the variable x, we are iterating through the list called as fruit. So the first iteration, x will have apple. In the second iteration, x will have banana. In the third iteration, x will have cherry. So in the first iteration, if the x is equal to fr, that means if you are reading the say the fr value as banana, and in the first iteration, x will be apple. So it will not print required fruit found. Again, in the second iteration, it will find the required fruit, and if the required fruit is found, it displays required fruit is found and it quits the program. After all the iterations also, the required fruit is not found, then in that case, it displays required fruit not found. So to loop through set of codes specified number of times, we can use range function. See, in this case, we have not used range function. We have used the in keyword. But to iterate through to iterate number of times, we use range function in association with for. And the range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default. But you can change the starting value. See, in our example, I have specified the initial value of 2. If you won't specify the initial value, it starts from 0. And by default, it increments by 1. But in our example, I have given the increment value as, that means the step value as 2. That means each iterations, it will take I value as +2. and the stop value as 11. That means it is similar to for I is equal to 2, I less than 11, I is equal to I plus 2. The similar syntax for this for I in range 2, 11, 2 in C language or any other Java language is for I is equal to 2, I less than 11, I is equal to I plus 2. I am printing the I value. So see the output from two values are being added. I becomes 2 is equal I is equal to I plus 2. So for 2 plus 2 is added, for 4 plus 2 is added, for plus 6 plus 2 is added, and so on. Similarly, for strings, how can you use this range value? If I say, if you initialize A is equal to ABC, for I in range length of A up to the length of this A, the length of A is 3, right? For I in range 3. So the similar syntax in other languages for I is equal to 0, I less than 3. Print A of I. So at the first iteration, it will be A of 0. So A will be displayed. For the second iteration, it is A of 1. B is displayed. And the third iteration, it is A of 2. C is displayed. Right. Thank you. That's all for today. We'll see the remaining in tomorrow's class.